I think today we're going to hear a very inspiring story. I know you were a nurse in Ghana,
Yes,
and then now you are a medical doctor in the US.
yes,
Wow.
yeah.
So, can you just briefly tell us a bit about yourself, and then we'll get started? How did a nurse from Ghana somewhere suddenly, become a doctor in the US? And then for those who are aspiring, because there are actually some nurses that are medical school rejects, myself inclusive. My first choice was medicine, but I didn't get it. Back in KNUST, they gave me nursing. And I know that some of my classmates were medical school rejects. And there are still some nurses that would like to pursue being a doctor, and then even better still in a place like the UK or the US. So for those that want to go to the US but would like to be doctors but are currently nurses, how did you do it? Stop that.
So first of all, I want to say thanks for the opportunity to be on your wonderful platform, and I really appreciate what you do. And also, I want to say big thank you to your followers as well. I know they are very loyal to you. And so basically, just say you've already introduced me. I'm from Ghana originally, and I was a nurse. And currently, I am a resident physician in the USA and in Maryland. So it is a very long journey, transitioning from one profession to the other. It takes a lot of serious focus, dedication, and determination to be able to do it. So my journey, it began from, I think, 2007, when, yeah, when after high school, we started weighing options as to what to do. And for most of us, like me included, did not really have like a direct career path where you have somebody guiding you as to exactly what you should do. I had friends from high school who knew exactly what they wanted to do. So when I completed,
What school did you complete?
I schooled in Burma Camp in Armed Forces Technical Secondary School, and so when I finished with the Burma Camp school, I was now weighing what to do. So yeah, I happened to become a nurse. Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
So where did you have your nursing training? In a
so
university or in a nursing training?
so training was in Komfanoche. It's a nursing training school where I was awarded a diploma certificate after school. And after the school, I worked in Suta district, in Suta Polyclinic, for 2 years. And that is where I gained some of the inspiration to become a doctor. And what exactly inspired me, even though like during my nursing school, we work with doctors during our rotations and all that, and like you say that, okay, like, do I want to be a doctor? Like you're always inspired by people who are higher than you. But my whole inspiration exactly took a turning point when I was posted to Institute Polyclinic after nursing school. So I happened to find myself in a place where there was no clinic. So my director at the time, district director of health, he decided that, okay, you being a nurse, and you are a new nurse, we want you to go and start this clinic. It's called the Aframso Polyclinic. So that is where, after gaining some experience in the Suta Polyclinic, I had to go to Aframso and also start a clinic over there. With, let me say, little to no experience in hospital management or healthcare center management, but with his guide and also with assistance from other allied health colleagues, we were able to start that facility. And it took a lot of hard work. When I got there, the place was like in a forest, so they only have the building over there. It was constructed by ex-president Kufuor, so they have the building in the forest. And also we have like electric generator over there that is not, it's very heavy, but it's not working. So we had also some buildings that were constructed that health workers could live in. So we started living there. We cleared the bushes all over. There were a lot of snakes,
Village.
It's a typical village. Those villages where when you go, it's like small families. Like one man has his own family, and then they just go and then stay at different places. And so it's a lot of those things that are scattered around one village.
So how long were you there for? How long did you manage this clinic for?
So I was there for 2 years. I stayed there for 2 years, coming back and forth. difficult challenges there, like there no vehicle goes there, vehicles go there only on Tuesdays. Sometimes I have to stay on top of the vehicles to get to the facility. Yeah, but what exactly happened was that there was a day where a lady presented to me in the facility where she said she had not been able to void all day, and then she had lower abdominal pain. So with that, like, we were able to do the urine pregnancy test at the time, and then we saw that she was pregnant. So I concluded that she could be having ectopic gestation. So we started IV fluid on her. We got a vehicle for her, and then transported her. And then I wrote a referral note that she might have ectopic pregnancy. Yeah, but by the time we got the vehicle, it took 45 minutes to get a vehicle from the next town. And so by the time I got the vehicle, I remember I was on the motorbike chasing the vehicle. So when I got it, she had already ruptured, and the belly was like, yeah, when I saw her, the belly was very flat. Now the belly looks like she's 9 months pregnant within 45 minutes. Yeah. So I set two IV lines on her, placed IV fluids on both arms, and then put her in the vehicle. So she was able to make it to the hospital. And so fortunately, there was a doctor, Dr. Suka. He was in Mampong Clinic. So he was eating fufu at the time. Then he said, as soon as the patient came, because of my referral letter, he was able to know the urgency of the situation, and he carried the lady to the theater and was able to save her life. But the story did not end there. After this lady was operated upon, she couldn't get money to pay her bills at the time, so she had to abscond. She left the hospital. That's when the doctor took the phone and called me and told me to go after this lady and get his money for him or for the hospital. So, and then the next moment, I think a week later, I fell from the motorbike, and that's when I went to the hospital, and he saw me. And then he was like, "Oh, is it you that referred this patient, or was it your boss?" And I told him, "I am the head of the facility, so it's me." So he was kind of like surprised how I was able to make that clinical diagnosis. Now, let me go back a little bit. Just before then, I had also taken my prerequisite exam to apply for medical school in University of Cape Coast. So after he saw me the next week, I came to him and I told him, hey, I wanted him to sign on my document for me so that I can submit it to the University of Cape Coast. And that is when he told me, hey, he personally schooled in Russia to become a surgeon. So he would encourage me that if the system in Ghana does not admit me, then I should go to China. He knows somebody who is doing the process. So he's going to get the phone number for me so I can also see if Ghana doesn't accept me, I can go to China. So that landed me in China. Yeah.
Oh, so you had your medical schooling in China?
Correct.
And how many years was that?
I landed in China end of 2013, September. And so the med school is 6 years in China. It's taught in English. So I did that 5 years in China, 1 year in Ghana for clinical internship. That's what we do. So that we can get familiar with wherever you want to work in. Let's say back in your home country, you can go there and then familiarize yourself with the hospital system.
And are the lecturers Chinese lecturers teaching in English, or they are like African, or they are white people?
Yeah. So our lecture is mixed. So we have lecturers from India, lecturers from Nepal, and we also have lecturers who are Chinese. Some of them were like professors from the US who have retired, and then they have moved back to China. So it was kind of like a mix. And also the language of tuition was in English. But first year we were required to learn Mandarin so that we can be able to like maneuver our ways around but the language of studies was in English.
I had one Indian lecturer. If you ask me his name and what even the course that he taught, I will not remember. I didn't hear a word the whole time he was my lecturer. So to me, was it not a struggle over there?
Yeah, as I said earlier, transitioning is always difficult. Cultural shock in China was a thing because when I got to China the first time, I did not know even anything about Chinese, I had only watched like old Chinese movies, long time ago. So yeah, I didn't know any word in Chinese, but it was a challenge. Luckily for me, when I got there, I'm someone like I appreciate cultures, different cultures. So I did not shut myself away from the people. I was able to mingle with them, listen to them. I used apps that were teaching languages. So, and then I also use YouTube videos to learn the Chinese. So I think within 4 months, I was able to like start opening my mouth and start speaking basic Chinese.
Okay. So how much was like the tuition?
So the tuition at the time, I think that was another reason why I would choose China over other countries. The tuition at the time was $6,000 for the admission fee. That is first year, and then every other year we pay like 4,000. And so
Well,
yeah, 4,000. These are in dollars, yes. So I mean, relatively, if I compare it, it's higher than in my home country, but it's also better than in other countries like in the US, Canada, Australia. Yeah.
and how were you able to fund that? Were you allowed to work in China to be able to gather money to pay? How were you able to fund that?
Yeah, this is another big issue here, but I'm going to be frank. So when I was going to China, I only had my first year tuition from Ghana, and so in China I was able to do some work, like sometimes we do teaching of English to the Chinese kids. And
Or you were shipping wigs from China in iPhones?
yeah, I think oh my god, you just reminded me of something that happened here. So I think at the end of my first year, yeah, I shipped some stuff, clothing, tablets, laptops, but I didn't make profit from it. I rather lost.
So it was more through teaching English to Chinese kids to
Correct.
help
Correct.
paying. Okay, wow, that was good. So how did you come to the US then? After the 6-year program in China, how did you land in the US?
So when I started med school, like my plan was basically to go back to Ghana to practice over there to help my community. But things happened. I had to change my course and move to the US. So when I was in China, I think in my 4th year was when my friend Divine, one of my best friends, so he introduced the NCLEX exam to me. So he was like, "Hey Jerry, you are a nurse, I know, and I know you are in the med school, and I'm going to pitch an idea to you, but probably you might say you are in med school, so but I still have to tell you anyway." So he told me about like how I could take the NCLEX and go and then work in the US and make more money, and then probably just stop the medicine, but I took some time to like think about like how I could merge the two and then benefit from both sides. So in my 4th year, I decided to start studying for the NCLEX exam. And basically, I combined both, going for lectures and also studying for NCLEX. And in 2017, I was ready. I went to India to sit for the NCLEX exam. And then I passed it on the first attempt. So after that, then my visa documentation was processed. And so that's like just briefly how I made it to the US.
Wow, you're very ambitious because you were studying in a foreign land, you were working to raise money for your maintenance and other stuff, and then you were preparing for NCLEX as well. Wow, that's a lot. Did you not have a girlfriend? How was it to?
Oh my God. Basically for me, it's about where you want to be, where you want to see yourself and you want to improve your lives. A lot of people are looking back to you. You have family to take care of, and you have kids in the future that you would want to give a better life to. So if you consider all those things, they are motivation enough to look up to and then be successful in whatever you do.
You said future kids. I'm asking for a friend. Are you married?
I've never been married. Yeah.
Okay,
but maybe in the future. Yeah.
So Jerry is not married. The single girls here, if you heard him right. So he has a YouTube channel as well. I'll leave his Instagram and everything. Just go and say hi. Who knows? Mm-hmm. So when you got to the US with the NCLEX, now you were a nurse in the US. So how did you end up being a resident physician?
When I got to the US, started working. So as soon as I started working, so basically I had 3 months left to graduate from China.
Okay.
So whilst I was on orientation, I seek permission from my nursing supervisor. So she allowed me to go 5 days, graduate, come back. So when I got back, I got my documents and so my certificate and diploma from China. So once I got it back, the following month I started processing with the ECFMG. And then
ECFMG, what is that?
so ECFMG is the board that sees to, it's just like CGFNS for nurses.
Okay.
So it's the board that sees to credential evaluation
For doctors. Okay.
Correct.
So as you were working as a nurse in the US, you started doing your credential evaluation for like the doctor profession.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot. So then what happened with that one?
That was a lot. So as soon as I was able to verify all my credentials and I knew that I qualified to sit for the exam, that's when I started studying for the exam, going to work and also studying. That time I was working like 4 to 5 shifts in a week. So that's nights or days. And so I started studying. I mean, it was also very difficult, very, very hard. USMLE, that's the United States Medical License Exams, like a lot of resources to study. And so I started studying. Like my first year was almost like a waste because I did not have the right information. And then like from my second year, I started improving. I joined Facebook groups and then I joined Reddit groups, and that is where I met people who were also taking it and I took inspiration from them. I formed study group with some few people. I tried about 3-4 people. And the 5th person is still my study partner that I used. And then we have different levels of the exam. We have step 1, step 2, step 3. We also take the OET for English proficiency. And then we do some other tests like in between. So yeah, that took a lot of time. I used about 4 years to study to take all the steps exams.
Wow.
And luckily for me, I was able to pass all of them on the first trial. So
wow. So from a village nurse where you had to sit on top of a car to get to your destination,
yeah,
where you probably did not even have enough resources, to becoming a resident physician in the US, the land of many opportunities. Wow. That is such a drastic change.
Yeah, it took a lot of hard work, but honestly, I do not feel it. I mean, it's I think
you just took one step at a time.
Yeah.
And then you were not in a rush.
Yeah.
And then you just took your time and then you killed everything
Correct.
one by one. I am so proud of you. Wow, you have done so well. Wow. Not a lot of people have the strength and the resilience to go through all that. So now, what is your job title? Resident physician. What do you do?
Yeah, so resident physician, I work in the Greater Baltimore Medical Center in Maryland. It's in Towson, to be specific. And so resident physician, I started from June of this very year, 2023. So resident physician, I am doing internal medicine. So internal medicine is more like, I would call it like the central dogma of medicine, where every doctor has to do internal medicine. And so that is what I'm doing now. That's my specialty that I'm doing currently. And
so is it like doing housemanship in Ghana?
So this is still a training, right? It's more like a transition from being a student to being an independent practitioner. So yeah, but if you compare it to housemanship, it's a little ahead of housemanship, because in Ghana they have to do like 2 years of housemanship before they can do residency. But in the US, we do it straight away.
Okay, make us more motivated and inspired. What are the figures? How much are you earning now?
So when you start at this entry level, so basically you don't make so much. Depends on the hospital. It depends on the hospital. It depends on the state that you are working with.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the state you're with. But I'm going to give figures. So yeah, if you want to know how much I personally make, so basically people know me for just laying the facts bare. I don't sugarcoat it, or I don't make it. So that's what people know me for. So my gross pay for the month is about $5,000. And then they always pay every 2 weeks, so it's divided into 2. And my take home, like after taking insurance, I have work insurance. I pay about $200 every month for that. So every paycheck for that. Take home after all the deductions would be plus tax, state tax, income tax, federal. It's like $1,800 for every 2 weeks. So I mean, it's something to write home about.
And after this residency program, how much will you be earning per month?
So yeah, it also depends on the state that you work in. It depends on like how you negotiate your contract. So for physicians, we negotiate our contracts. It's good. I can be working with somebody, but they'll be taking more than me, or I could be taking more than them. It also depends on if you need a visa waiver, if you are a citizen, you are a green card holder, and all that. But as independent practitioner, after residency, I should be looking at gross, like yearly, maybe 180,000 to probably up as much as maybe $400,000 for the year.
So what will be your final words for people that want to embark on this journey, for let's say nurses that want to be doctors in, let's say, US? Your final words, and then I'll lead them all to your channel and then your social media so that they can ask you all the questions, and maybe you can come back for us to have another video maybe sometime later. So your final words, and then
my final words is a journey of 1,000 miles. Begin with a step, and whatever you want to do, you can start now. If you do not start, you might think, oh, next year I will do it. But next year would come and you have not done anything, and then you will say next year again and next year again. And I know if I was looking at 10 years from now, I would have said I wouldn't be able to do it, but then I took it as like a step at a time. So my advice to people would be, whatever that you want to do, you can do it. And whatever that you want to achieve, you want to look and say, all the people who have achieved that thing, are they better than me? If you think that, for example, if I think that all the doctors in America, are not smarter than me, then I can fit in as well, So that is how I look at things. And perseverance, resilience. Finances should not be a limitation for anything, because if you are looking for the brokest person, it's me when I started my journey. So finances should not be a limitation. A lot of times we will say, oh, I do not have the money to do this, I do not have the money to do that. You need to begin, and God would find a way for you to excel.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Bye.